Hi guys, welcome to another video. Hope you're all keeping well. The following video is a video which I must admit I found very tricky to do, because what it is, I'm going to give my all-time top 10 my all-time top 10 favourite Hammer horror films. Now, as you will know, if you've been following the channel, I am a huge Hammer fan, and so many Hammer horror films I absolutely love. And as I say, this is a very tricky choice, a very difficult choice to sort of narrow them down, you know, to the top 10. But I finally picked a 10 that I watch mostly. I go back to, you know, again and again. That's not to say there aren't other Hammer horror films in my collection that I watch a lot, but these particularly I must have watched these all hundreds of times, yeah. But before I start running down the top 10, they are all in order actually. I'd just like to give an honorary mention to one that was just bubbling under the top 10 and another great Hammer horror favourite of mine from 1970, and that is The Vampire Lovers. Fantastic movie, one of the Karnstein trilogy, the Camilla, and yeah, fantastic performances all around here, from Ingrid Pitt, Peter Cushing, and yeah, a real good vampire story. I'll just read you the back of this edition just in case you haven't seen the movie. The arrival of the exotic Mark killer Ingrid Pitt causes a stir in the Austrian province of Styria. Women seek Mark Killer's friendship and men are entranced by her beauty when she stays at the home of General Spaldor, played by Peter Cushing, and his niece Laura, Pippa Steele. The only clue to Laura's subsequent death is an unusual wound on one of her breasts. Now calling herself Carmilla, the enigmatic stranger moves in with a nearby English family. Like Laura, the naive Emma Morton, Madeline Smith soon falls ill. As her life hangs by a thread, the terrible truth about Camilla is finally revealed. So there you go, guys. That was the one that just didn't quite make me all-time top 10 Hammer horror favourites. That is the Vampire Lovers, yeah, and that's from 1970. Right, moving on now to the top 10. As I say, these are the ones I've watched most of all out of all the Hammer films I've got in my collection, and narrowed it down to these 10. So without further ado, let's just start with number 10. And number 10 is Vampire Circus. Fantastic movie about this travelling troupe of circus entertainers who are really vampires and that, oh yeah, some fantastic scenes of horror in this, guys, really is. And this is a fantastic edition. It's got plenty of special features on it. You want to freeze your cameras and just take those in. Sorry about the glare, guys, I've just got the ring light on. Yeah, this is one of Hammer's best movies. A little girl is brutally slain by a vampire in a tiny 19th century Austrian village. Seeking revenge, the townspeople invade the foreboding castle of Count Misserhouse and kill him for the crime. As the Count dies, he curses the villagers and vows their children will die so that he may someday return to life. 15 years later, as the village is ravaged by the plague, a travelling circus comes to town and all hell breaks loose. So there you go, guys, yeah, fantastic movie by Hammer, Vampire Circus, and that's from 1971. Next up is another fantastic Hammer horror movie starring the late great Oliver Reed, and in fact Hammer's only real entry really into the werewolf franchise, and that is The Curse of the Werewolf. Isn't that a fantastic cover, guys? Just look at that. Yeah, again, one of my all-time favourite Hammer movies. Oliver Reed is really on the money, playing this cursed boy called Leon, whose mother is played by Yvonne Remain, is brutally raped in a jail cell, by this horrible hermit character, and she gives birth to this to Leon, and of course he's afflicted with the lycanthropy. Oh yeah, lovely colour on this movie as well. Admittedly, my favourite Wolfman is Lon Chaney Jr. Because of the great pathos he brought to that role. But Oliver Reed comes pretty close, guys. He plays this tortured individual. He wants to be free from this curse, and yeah, some fantastic scenes in this. Yeah, and it's got some special features there, guys. If you want to freeze your cameras and take those in. And the werewolf makeup's fantastic in this. There's the interior artwork. Yeah, oh, this is one of the best werewolf movies I've ever seen. Yeah, especially the part in the jail cell where Leon changes and that, you know, and he attacks the, you know, the fellow inmates and that. Oh yeah, and his father and that, you know, you feel really sorry for his family and that, you know, the way he sort of like the son's afflicted, and you know when he's young and that, they have to put bars on the have to put bars on his window so he can't get out and that, and you actually see him, you know, transforming when he was a boy and that, you know. Oh, it's a brilliant movie, this. Yeah, I remember watching this as a kid on the old black and white telly and being utterly terrified by it. Oh yeah, Oliver Reed, he gives a fantastic performance in this, you know. And as I say, you know, Yvonne Remain, and yeah, it's a great story by Hammer. And yeah, I sometimes wonder why they didn't continue with the werewolf franchise, but there you go. So there you go. That is the Curse of the Werewolf. That is from 1960. Next up is oh yeah, another fantastic Hammer horror movie that I always enjoy every time I go back to it, and that is Twins of Evil. Again, brilliant story by Hammer, great cast, solid storyline. Yeah, it's if you haven't seen this movie, I'll just read you the back of it. Yeah, it's about two beautiful orphaned identical twins, Maria and Frida Gellhorn. These were actually Playboy centerfold models, Mary and Madeline Collison. Moved to the village of Karnstein to live with their uncle Gustav Weil, played by Hammer horror favourite Peter Cushing. He's a fanatical Puritan and leader of the local witch-hunting brotherhood. The village counts an evil man who secretly practices Satanism, uses black magic and transforms into a vampire. Unhappy with her new life, Frida seeks escape and tragically falls under the spell of the counts. Now overcome with an insatiable hunger for human blood, Frida has to hide her secrets from her sister and escape her uncle's killing grasp. Oh yeah, Peter Cushing is really on the money in this. You know, he plays this sort of like basically a vampire hunter really, and he's like a Quaker, and he, you know, he doesn't pull any punches when he goes after it. You know, goes after these monsters, these creatures. Fantastic story. Got some great special features as well, guys. If you want to breeze your cameras and take those in. Yeah. I had to send off to America for this one because I couldn't get this edition in the UK. But yeah, it's a fantastic movie. Some stills there for you guys. Yeah, so so there you go. That is Twins of Evil. That's from 1971. Next up is oh yeah, another what can I say? I could sit here all afternoon spouting superlatives about this movie. Stars the late great Ralph Bates and Martine Beswick, and it's a spin on the Robert Louis Stevenson story, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and that is Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde. Brilliant movie. I especially love the likeness they got with Ralph Bates and you know, Martine Beswick. Yeah, and it puts a different spin on the Dr. Jekyll story because you know, as the title says it all, really, he transforms into not a male Mr. Hyde, but a very dangerous female, you know, Sister Hyde, and it's set against the backdrop of the Victorian London, you know, the Jack the Ripper style, because he goes around, when he changes to his evil alter ego, goes around stabbing people mercilessly and brutally, you know. Oh yeah, Ralph Bates was one of the greatest Hammer stars ever. Well, of course, he was an all-round good actor anyway, but he really shone in these Hammer movies, guys. I love everything about this movie. It's one of the best movie adaptations of Robert Louis Stevenson' classic story I've ever seen. Again, like so many of these movies, I recall watching these on late night TV on a Friday night and being utterly scared witless. Yeah. Well, you know, you're scared of everything as a kid, aren't you? Yeah. Oh yeah. So I'll just read a little bit of the back of it. When Dr. Henry Jekyll attempts to find an elixir of life, he accidentally stumbles upon a formula which transforms her into a gorgeous but evil woman who calls herself the widowed Mrs. Hyde. Somewhat disdained by the female transformation, but aroused by the power it brings, Jekyll can't but help to continue his experiments, as the evil Hyde starts brutally murdering women to get the female hormone she needs. Jekyll's alter ego soon grows too powerful. Just got a couple of special features there, guys, if you want to freeze your cameras and take those in. But yeah, great spin on the Robert Louis Stevenson story. That is Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde, and that is from, I think it's from, 1971. Next up is, again, I could sit here all afternoon uttering superlatives about this fantastic movie. Christopher Lee's second outing as the evil Count Dracula, and that is Dracula, Prince of Darkness. Oh, what can I say about this movie? You know, as I say, Christopher Lee comes back to the role as Dracula, his second Dracula movie since 1958, and boy, does he really entertain in this movie. It does take a little bit of time for him to be resurrected, and oh yeah, the resurrection scene, if you've seen this movie, you know what I mean, where Clove, his evil servant, he has guests at the castle, and he attacks one of the guests, Alan, in the middle of the night, and he ties him up upside down, and he slits his throat, and all the blood goes onto Dracula's ashes. Oh yeah, one of the most terrifying scenes in a Hammer movie I've ever seen. Yeah, and it got a great cast. You got Francis Matthews, you've got Barbara Shelley, you've got Christopher Lee as Dracula. Oh yeah, very, very entertaining movie. Granted, the one or two stupid decisions when he gets told, don't go near the castle, don't go near the castle, but I can forgive that for the sheer entertainment value of this movie, and in particular, Christopher Lee's, absolutely stunning performance as Count Dracula. No, I've said it before, nobody can play Count Dracula like Christopher Lee. It's got a couple of special features on here, guys, including commentary. There you go, so there's Dracula there doing that, like he done in the Stoker novel, where he slits his chest and he sort of like tries to entice his female victim to drink his blood. Yeah, oh yeah, it's a fantastic movie, this, and I love the ending as well. Yeah, yeah, and the colours absolutely beautiful. Scream Factory doing a fantastic job with these Hammer horror movies, they really are, you know. And I believe the Vampire Lovers is coming out around about Christmas, so I'll be getting that one. So there you go, that's the interior artwork, yeah. So Christopher Lee, he comes back with a bang in this movie. Oh yeah, fantastic. So there you go, that is Dracula, Prince of Darkness, and that's from 1965. Next up is another fantastic Hammer movie, starring the late great Peter Cushing and Veronica Carlson, Freddie Jones, and this Frankenstein is a real badass in this movie, it really is, from 1969, and that is Frankenstein Must Be Destroyed. Oh, as I say, boy, is Peter Cushing a real badass in this movie. He's got no morals whatsoever. He blackmails this young couple played by Simon Ward and Veronica Carlson, you know, to help him with his evil experiments and that. And he's really, really vicious, and I mean vicious. He was bad in The Curse of Frankenstein, but he's even worse in this, I think. You know, so many great scenes in this. You know, and you really feel for the couple as sort of like they fall under his spell and that, you know, and he can't sort of like break loose and that because he's blackmailing them. I haven't discovered that they're sort of like they're involved with drugs because they're trying to get drugs to help Anna, Veronica Carlson's mother, or something. You know, sort of like help her with an illness and that. And Peter Cushing, he sort of like takes residence in a boarding house run by Anna, and that's where he stumbles across them being involved in drugs. Yeah, oh yeah, it's a fantastic movie. Yeah, there they are. There's Simon Ward there who's forced to help him. Freddie Jones as the monster. Yeah, as I say, at lost count at the times I've watched this movie over the years. It's very entertaining, and there's some pretty memorable scenes in it as well, when Anna's in the garden and that, and there's a body under the ground and that, and the water spout suddenly sort of like starts spouting. It blows up, and as it blows up, the ground wets, and the body that protrudes from the ground. Oh yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah. And as I say, Peter Cushing, he's got no morals whatsoever. He's a real mean, as I say, he's really mean in this. And the way he sort of like says to Anna, "I'd like some coffee, please, Anna." You know, cool, calm, and collected and that. But you know, he's really, really villainous in this. Yeah, yeah. And of course, mustn't forget the notorious rape scene, which when we first watched it back in the early 70s, we were all gobsmacked. We said, we've never seen him do that before in a movie. But of course, if you're familiar with Hammer films, you'll know Peter Cushing did not really want to do that rape scene. You know, he thought it was it wasn't necessary, and he actually took Veronica Carlson out for a meal and discussed it with her, because he said, from what I've read and seen, you know, about this movie, you know, it's not going to really be me, dear, you know that, don't you? That's how much of a, you know, kind and considerate man he was. You know, everybody gave him a good name, but in this movie, guys, God, he really, you know, he's really on the money playing Baron Frankenstein's sheer evil. Yeah, so there you go, that's Frankenstein Must Be Destroyed from 1969. Fantastic movie. Moving on now, again, the late great Christopher Lee. the late great Christopher Lee, again as Count Dracula from 1969, and that is Taste the Blood of Dracula. Again, this is the direct sequel to Dracula Has Risen from the Grave, where these sort of like three decadent businessmen, they're looking for some excitement, and they encounter this Lord Courtly, this sinister character. Lord Courtly, played brilliantly by Ralph Bates. And he says to him, would you like to make a pact with the devil, you know, and you will be rewarded, you know, because a lot of crap and that, you will be rewarded 100 times and that. So he gets them to buy Dracula's you know, sort of like Dracula's relics, like his ring and his cloak and that, from this rather dodgy dealer played by Roy Kinnear, who discovered Dracula dying in the forest on a cross. Well, one of the most memorable scenes in the Dracula movies, where Christopher Lee's impaled on this cross, and it's come right through his chest, and he's in the forest, and all the blood's coming down his face. Yeah, so Roy Kinnear he sort of like gets the you know, sort of like Dracula's what's left of him, you know, his relics and that, and he sells them to these businessmen. And there follows a very disturbing, terrifying movie in a church involving sorry about that, guys, there's two bloody lunatics gone past on motorbikes. I'm fed up with them bloody motorbikes, they're bloody nuisance. Anyway, sorry about that. So there follows a very sort of like very horrific ritual in the church and that, where Ralph Bates sort of like he tries to get them to drink Dracula's blood and that, but of course he ends up dying and that, and Dracula comes back to life. But I'll leave it there for now. So there you go. So that is Taste the Blood of Dracula from 1969. Yeah, again, apologise for those bloody motorbikes, they're a damn nuisance, idiots. Right, next up is the movie that sort of like preceded Taste the Blood of Dracula, and that is Dracula Has Risen from the Grave. Again, a fantastic Christopher Lee Dracula movie. This is the sequel to Dracula Prince of Darkness, where Dracula's revived from his icy tomb by a priest who he falls on the ice and that, and his blood goes into the ice and it revives Dracula. And it stars a lovely Veronica Carlson, you know, and it's got religious sort of like religious overtones in this, because when the hero, played by Barry Andrews, Paul, tries to kill Dracula, he's an atheist. So the priest says to him, pray, you've got to pray. And he said, I don't know how to pray because I'm an atheist. And while he's sort of like struggling with his sort of like his conscience, Dracula pulls the stake out. Oh yeah, it's a fantastic movie. Yeah, I love everything about this movie. I love the rooftop scenes, you know, the scenes and that. And I love the way the priest, played by Ewan Hooper from Hunter's Walk, the TV series from the 70s, he's taken over by Dracula, and he sort of like becomes his servant and that. Oh yeah, fantastic movie starring the late great Christopher Lee. That's Dracula Has Risen from the Grave from 1968. Right, number 2 in my list of top 10 Hammer horror movies, again stars Christopher Lee as Count Dracula, and his debut as Dracula in the 1958 Hammer horror classic Dracula. Don't really need to say too much about this movie, guys, because you all know how much I love it. I've spoke about it often enough in my videos. Christopher Lee makes his terrifying screen debut as Count Dracula. Peter Cushing's on the money as Van Helsing, and Michael Gough, he's very good in it as well. A fantastic movie, so many great scenes, and this sort of like this cemented, along with The Curse of Frankenstein, this cemented Hammer's leading role in horror movies, British horror movies. Yeah, oh yeah, it's a fantastic movie. Yes, I say I won't say too much more about it because you know I've spoken about this movie a lot in the past. So there you go. That's Dracula, starring the late great Christopher Lee, and that's from 1958. Right, now we come to the number 1. Have you guessed what it is? Yes. Again, another fantastic Hammer classic. You know, I've watched it hundreds and hundreds of times over the years, and that is from 1957, The Curse of Frankenstein. This, as I said, along with Dracula, really cemented Hammer's role in the world of British horror movies and that. You know, it really set them on the path for greatness and that. You know, and Peter Cushing is really on the money again. Well, it's his debut as Baron Frankenstein. Again, just like in Frankenstein Must Be Destroyed, he's got no moral conscience whatsoever, and he doesn't let anything stand in his way. I mean, he's even more evil than the creature itself, played by Christopher Lee. Yeah, he doesn't let anything stand in his way, you know, to create his monster and that. And, you know, all what he does and that is just a real badass again, you know. So many enjoyable things about this movie. This is actually the first Blu-ray I got. I've got the other Blu-ray that came out a couple of years ago. It's got a better picture quality, but I couldn't find that in my collection, so I'm showing you this for now. This has got some great special features on it, guys. Anyway, packed with features there, as is the other one as well. So that's why I've kept this one, because I've got some of the special features on the other one, yeah. But as I say, Peter Cushing, oh yeah, nobody can play Baron Frankenstein like Peter Cushing. And, you know, as I say, he doesn't stop, he stops at nothing to achieve, you know, creating. He thinks in his warped sort of way, his warped mentality, he thinks he's doing grace for mankind, creating light, but of course, the extreme measures he goes to, you know, sort of like, well, you know, speaks for itself, really, yeah. So there you go. That's number 1 in my list of all-time top 10 Hammer horror movies. That is the fabulous The Curse of Frankenstein from 1957. Okay, guys, well, I hope you enjoyed my Hammer all-time top 10. As I said, it was a very, very difficult choice for me to make, because there's so many great Hammer horror movies, you know, and I've got virtually them all, and there's only 1 or 2 that I haven't really bothered with them. I wasn't really too keen on. But what I am going to do, I want to do a Hammer, my all-time favourites Hammer psychological thrillers, because he did make quite a few, as well as the Hammer horror movies starring the monsters. Hammer did produce some fantastic psychological movies, so I will do one of those in the near future. But yeah, they're all fantastic movies. Absolutely loved them. Other YouTubers have done, you know, their top 10 Hammer horror movies. So I thought I'd do my own and that, you know, but I say it was a very, very difficult choice, and that, you know, it really was, yeah. That damn motorbike! Yeah, so there you go. I'm sorry about the noisy idiots outside with the motorbike, yeah. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll speak to us all again soon. Thank you. Bye-bye. If you enjoyed watching this video, guys, you might like to check out my website at www.alantoner.com. You'll be able to find out a little bit more about my work as a writer, and all the books I have published to date. Thanks for watching.